The Civic Honors program is a competency-based program, and it allows students to work on a project about which they're passionate. So if you have a student who wants to create change in the community, who wants to actively problem solve, then this is the program for that student. When I talk about non-credit bearing and I talk about competency-based, it's often difficult to wrap your head around what that means. And so I'm grateful to Napoleon for being here to talk about his program. But I just want to tell you that if you have any questions, give me a call. If you'd like me to come to your class and talk to your students about both of these options, I'd be more than willing to do that. So I'm just, type in Helen Rosenberg on email and drop me an email, and we'll set up a time and I'll come by. And I'm passing this out. If you're interested in having me contact you, you can pass these around. Just put your name down and I'll do so. And I'd like you to meet Napoleon Hardy, who is a recent Civic Honors awardee.
Thank you, Dr. Rosenberg. I'm a non-traditional student, as you can probably guess. I spent the last 4 years here at UW-Parkside. Prior to my arriving, I was a chief operating officer for a logistics company in Racine, Wisconsin, and prior to that, I was in the Air Force, where I served for 15 years. Coming out of that background and coming to the university, it was a nice change to enter academia, but at the same time, I came with a lot of issues that, I wanted to see things change. I wanted to make change. Civic Honors, I was first introduced to Civic Honors in a CBL 101 class, and after talking to the professor of the class, decided maybe this was something that I wanted to do. A lot of times, 16 weeks as you're going through the semester is not enough time to really get into any topic in depth. Civic Honors allows you the opportunity to extend it past that 16-week semester and put a lot more thought into your projects. My personal issue was public housing and housing affordability and housing policy. Over the past 3.5 years, I've worked on many papers and projects to further that goal. Made a lot of contacts with the federal level, state level, on how to make policy changes. In the state of Wisconsin, I submitted recommendations to the Wisconsin Housing and Economic Development Authority, which were later included in their manual for lenders. So the program does work, and it gives you an opportunity to make some positive change. A lot of times we think about honors strictly from an academic standpoint. A lot of the people in the past, you think of honor students in the sciences and some of those other areas. This is more of a social science slant, but no matter what their discipline, if there's an issue that you're passionate about, the advisors in the program are very helpful in getting you on the right path and finding out what you are passionate about and making sure that you have the tools that you need to make things happen. Over my 4 years, I have a couple final products from my experience in Civic Honors. This is the portfolio. Just recently, I completed my portfolio defense and spent an hour giving a presentation explaining what it was that I learned and what I gained from the program. The program was very rewarding, and I have some documentation of everything that I studied over the past 3.5 years. Dr. Rosenberg will have this after it's graded, and I encourage you to come up and take a look at it, especially if you're thinking about promoting this to other students, to give them an idea of what's involved. There's nothing specifically for Civic Honors. There are no papers to write for Civic Honors short of the one where you submit your essay for admission, but it's competency-based, as she said, based on what each individual student chooses to do to represent their area of passion. I have taken classes all across all disciplines, and I try to relate as many of those classes as possible to my Civic Honors issue. I've taken classes in cartography. The classes that I did in cartography, I use those classes to make maps of foreclosed homes around the country. Classes that I've taken in computer science, I tied those in as well to developing databases for foreclosures. English classes where you're asked to write a paper and develop your own topic. Usually those topics were also centered on housing policy, and those sort of issues. So it's been a wonderful program for me. The other finished product from my efforts, I was trying to purchase a home about 3.5 years ago, and going through that process was very daunting. As a veteran, I assumed that I would be able to use my VA benefits and purchase a home, but it was a very challenging thing to make happen, because there were certain things that I wanted to make sure that I achieved, and with the number of foreclosures that are on the market today, it was difficult to find something that would fit what I was looking for. As a result of my efforts and as my involvement with Civic Honors, I believe that by purchasing a home, which I was finally able to do about 1.5 years ago, a lot of that was the result of all the contacts and all of the studying that I had done, from studying housing policy from the 30s up through today, and understanding some of the systemic problems that have always existed in housing policy and in bureaucracy. So being able to work through those things, I was able to do a lot of things that others are not able to do, because we don't teach those sort of things in our secondary education systems any longer. So enough on my issue, but I encourage you to talk about the Civic Honors program, promote it. Everyone has a passion. This is a good opportunity to help bring those passions out. We are known for our community engagement in the area in UW-Parkside, so this is just another opportunity to further engage the students, in addition to the CCP, to get them out there and make some positive change in our communities. Thank you.
That's fine. Could you pick it up?
Absolutely.
All right, thank you.
I had the pleasure of having Napoleon in one of my classes, and it was a great pleasure. So it's really, I'm very proud to see that you've accomplished this.
And Napoleon is typical of all of our students.
Yes, absolutely.
They're all old, so you'll see that.
So thanks for coming.